Forget everything you know about traditional police work. Fingerprints and witness testimonies failed this boy for exactly 65 years, proving just how terrifyingly powerful human silence can be. But genetic genealogy has turned DNA into an inescapable whistleblower. Here at Unsolved USA Files, we are dismantling the idea of the unsolvable cold case by showing how fragmented data eventually outlasts every lie. February 1957, a freezing winter morning in Philadelphia. Inside a discarded Penney bassinet box on the side of a desolate road lay one of America's darkest secrets. From that moment on, this boy would be known by only one name: America's unknown child. In the wake of this grim discovery, the entire nation was in shock. Police printed hundreds of thousands of flyers. His picture was even attached to gas bills and distributed door to door. A whole country had adopted this nameless victim. All of America was looking for him, except for one group: his own family. The haunting contrast between the massive public outcry and the chilling silence from his family is blood-curdling even today. Because, as modern sibling DNA matches now prove with absolute certainty, he was not alone. He was part of a much larger family than anyone ever realized. With so many blood relatives around him, how could a child just vanish without a single missing person report ever being filed? If you believe that no secret stays buried forever, and that sibling connections are the key to breaking a family's silence and restoring a victim's name, subscribe to the channel now, and let's pull back the curtain on this dark file together. But the transition from the frozen leads of 1957 to knocking on the doors of his living siblings wasn't going to be easy. The great truth we were looking for was hidden not just by time, but behind deep physical and biological walls that remained impassable for over 65 years. For decades, the boy's physical remains fiercely guarded his secrets. 20th-century forensics were simply not equipped to handle a mystery this degraded. Early attempts to pull a usable genetic profile hit a brick wall, leaving investigators with nothing but closed leads, contaminated evidence, and deep frustration. But science is relentless. The shift from those early forensic failures to the sophisticated extraction methods we utilize today changed the game entirely. By applying cutting-edge technology, paving the way for the highly advanced MVAC DNA extraction systems and rigorous protocols we now see as the standard in 2026, scientists finally achieved the impossible. They successfully pulled viable, testable genetic material from the boy's highly degraded remains. Traditional DNA profiling, however, still wasn't enough. The sample was far too compromised. Think of it like trying to read a map that has been torn into thousands of pieces and left out in the rain. To actually read it, they had to transition to high-density SNP testing. This powerful, modern technology forced the damaged biological blueprint to speak, revealing a hidden genetic code capable of mapping out and matching with his close maternal and paternal relatives. It is truly mind-blowing to think that a child lost and forgotten in 1957 could be reconnected to his family through direct DNA hits. If you are as amazed as we are by how modern technology is actively uncovering the identities of his surviving half-siblings, hit that like button right now to help push this investigation out to more people. But extracting the DNA was only the first half of the battle. The answer was no longer buried in the ground, nor was it hidden in dusty Philadelphia police filing cabinets. It was locked inside a genetic code. This monumental breakthrough in the lab immediately sparked a new, intense digital hunt for the boy's living ancestors. A hunt using data that pointed directly toward his immediate sibling clusters. With the digital hunt underway, investigators took that newly extracted genetic blueprint and uploaded the sequence directly into public genealogical databases. Almost instantly, the system flagged high centimorgan matches. This was the monumental breakthrough they had been waiting for. By leveraging the shared DNA of distant, unsuspecting relatives, the forensic team completely bypassed the family's decades-long historical privacy and the total lack of any criminal records. From those initial hits, genetic genealogists began the agonizingly complex process of reverse engineering massive family trees. They sifted through decades of census data, birth certificates, and marriage licenses, meticulously funneling thousands of distant individuals down to one specific family branch in West Philadelphia. And waiting at the end of that branch were multiple living siblings who were finally located and who provided the direct confirmatory DNA samples required to close the loop. This modern approach to justice brings up a massive ethical debate. Do you think genetic privacy should take a backseat to solving cold cases, especially when today's 2026 sibling matches provide the absolute, definitive proof needed to identify a nameless victim? Drop your opinion in the comments below. We really want to hear your take on this. With those confirmatory samples secured, the genealogical data definitively locked in on the specific parents. The decades of silence were officially broken. The DNA not only proved exactly who his mother and father were, but it unveiled the heartbreaking reality that Joseph was part of a wide, living network of siblings. The biological code had finally surrendered its secrets, setting the stage for the historic revelation that was about to echo through the archives of the Philadelphia police. And the rest of the world. That echo finally arrived in a historic announcement that shattered 65 years of anonymity. The boy in the box was nameless no more. He was Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Almost overnight, the identification forced the Zarelli name into the global spotlight, permanently attaching a profound, decades-old human tragedy to a specific Philadelphia lineage. Seeing a face finally paired with a real name in the police archives was an incredibly emotional milestone. It officially restored Joseph's dignity, carving his true identity in stone. But this victory was contrasted by a perplexing and emotionally heavy reality: the discovery of his multiple living half-siblings. For some of these relatives, the revelation was a complete shock. They had lived their entire lives entirely unaware of his existence, only to learn decades later that their own DNA, their shared biological heritage, was the ultimate key to his recovery. There are still missing puzzle pieces regarding the exact circumstances of his short life and the specific actions of his parents. Please share this video right now. By sharing it, you ensure Joseph's story reaches as many people as possible, including those who might have recently discovered unknown siblings through their own 2026 ancestry kits, or who might hold the final, hidden clues to what really happened in 1957. While bridging the gap between identifying the victim and understanding his final days remains an ongoing pursuit, Joseph's case achieved something much larger than itself. It didn't just end a 65-year-old mystery, it ignited a forensic revolution. The profound victory of naming Joseph Augustus Zarelli now carries massive, broader implications, serving as the ultimate blueprint for thousands of other forgotten victims who are currently being linked to their own living relatives and siblings through these exact same methods. That blueprint is now actively changing the landscape of criminal justice. Joseph's case didn't just close a file, it became the definitive gold standard for how investigators approach the impossible. With the highly advanced forensic tools available in 2026, experts are no longer just looking for distant familial needles in a genetic haystack. They are armed with systems explicitly specialized in isolating and identifying immediate sibling leads, turning decades of dead ends into direct answers. This brings us to a profound, and perhaps uncomfortable, ethical reality. The evolution of advanced genetic data analysis, backed by recent, highly emotional interviews with Joseph's newly discovered siblings, has established a new rule in modern forensics. A family's silence can no longer hide the existence of a forgotten child. For over half a century, the deliberate lack of a missing person report and a rigid wall of familial secrecy kept Joseph in the dark. But biological data doesn't forget, it doesn't decay like memories, and it certainly doesn't lie. It outlasts the people who try to bury it. We are now living in an age where the ethical boundaries of historical privacy are being completely dismantled by the moral imperative to give a nameless child their identity back. The legacy of the boy in the box is the ultimate testament to biological persistence. It sends a powerful, unyielding message to every cold case detective, and a chilling warning to anyone who thinks they got away with hiding a victim. The era of the truly anonymous victim is officially over. No matter how deep the secret was buried in 1957, And regardless of how much time has passed, 2026 technology guarantees that even the most deliberately hidden sibling connections will eventually surface through the undeniable power of DNA. Joseph Augustus Zarelli is no longer America's unknown child. He is a brother, a son, and a permanent reminder that the truth always survives in our blood. If you are fascinated by how modern science is breaking decades of silence and want to take a deep dive into another incredible cold case recently solved by identifying distant cousins and close sibling DNA matches, click the video on your screen right now. Thank you for watching Unsolved USA Files. We will see you in the next file.